Live from the City of Angels, it is Wednesday, rare afternoon edition of MMT from Los Angeles. And you can see on the bottom screen why we are live now at a little after 12, well, actually closer to 1 here in LA. The Russo Brothers reportedly returning to the MCU straight to THR with the latest. They had the exclusive on this. And here it is. Joe and Anthony Russo are assembling a team once again, the Russo brothers, in early talks to return to Marvel Studios to direct not just one, but the next two Avengers movies. The hiring ends a month-long high-stakes search by the studio for filmmakers to oversee the 5th and 6th Avengers movies. Remember, a bunch of directors were in talks here. You remember Sean Levy, who, of course, is directing Deadpool Wolverine. He was offered the gig, but now it looks like it's going to go to the Russos. At least it says here talks are in the early stages. But again, if you're reporting this, if Feige's letting this out down at Marvel Studios in Manhattan Beach down the road here in Los Angeles, then that means it's pretty much a done deal. Makes sense from the standpoint that the Russo brothers obviously delivered Infinity War and Endgame. And before that, as we know, they've been with the MCU for some time. So they're familiar with the working style of Kevin Feige. I think the initial reaction for me as we continue along and look at the news here is the tweet I sent out immediately after seeing this. After you sit through a Gray Man, a Cherry, I can tell you this, and I know that this is our strong point here, and fearlessness will always rule the day here on MMT. Listen, you cannot let the Russo brothers come back in and do a Cherry or a Gray Man. I'm going to go off right now. I can't believe that any studio would ever allow this directorial duo to come back into a position where they can make the call after two shit. I mean, guys, you don't understand. The Gray Man might be the worst edited film in the history of Hollywood. It is borderline unwatchable. Cherry is over-directed. They need to have Kevin Feige sitting on their asses 24 hours a day while they direct this. Obviously, they have a relationship. So Feige knows how to get these guys under control, but there's no way. And this is the thing that drives me crazy. Why am I here doing the stream right now? Because you guys, you can't miss when you watch Cherry and you watch The Gray Man. What the fuck are you doing, Russo brothers? This is an embarrassment. And I think it comes down to, we talk about it all the time. We'll get into the comments. Phil, this is a rant session again, because you have a situation in this town with directors who, when you give them full authority over a film like Gray Man or Cherry, where Apple and Netflix like, just do your thing. Look what we get. So Feige, you have to control these two whose egos clearly are inflated and have to be brought back down to earth to direct these next two films. That has to happen. Not even a question. So the upshot of this and the positive news clearly is that they understand how to direct a film with Kevin Feige. Back to the news. I have to go in and interject because it's amazing to me the number of people who have no fucking clue what constitutes quality direction. I mean, there are people out there praising Horizon, but guys, you just don't get it. I mean, trust me, when you praise Horizon, when you say Gray Man is a very good film, you are done. I mean, there's no way to come back from these things. And that's the thing with the fight with when you look at the Russo brothers, is that they are competent when someone is watching over them. When not, you are in trouble. Okay, let's go over some of the things they've done since then. As you know, they're producers of Everything Everywhere All at Once. Of course, you guys know I call that one of the most overrated films of all time. I think one of the most laughable Best Picture winners in the history of the Oscars. Not as bad as Coda, but it's right there. It's like, what's the worst Best Picture? People can say Crash. I'm like, listen, it's Coda. And number two, for most overrated film to ever win a Best Picture, Best Director, Best Everything, Everything Everywhere. Holy shit. What are we doing, right? What are we even doing at this point? Particularly when you have Tar sitting there. I'm going to do it again. I'm going to mention Tar because you can't. But yeah, of course they produce that because it's overblown, overdone, repetitious to the point where you want to rip the screen down at the end of that film. But that's, the Russo brothers. I didn't watch Citadel. I didn't see Extraction. Nice, they were just producers on that. But I did suffer through Cherry and The Gray Man. The Gray Man is when I went to the premiere. Netflix invited me. And I went and I couldn't step maybe 3 feet outside of the Chinese theater there. And I said, guess what? This shit is terrible. I mean, guys, this is some terrible filmmaking. I've never seen a film. Again, back to the edits on The Gray Man. I'm going to hammer it again. You know what? Hold on. We're having fun here. For those of you who are just joining us on this Wednesday afternoon, first time on MMT, welcome to the insanity that is live. This is the Gray Man popcorn box from the night that I went. This fucking film is truly an abomination of an edit job. You go watch like that scene where there's a van and it gets shoot out. There's 1,000 angles taken within like 30 seconds. If I had my name on this film, I don't care anyone in this film, I would just pretend I wasn't in it. Were you in The Gray Man? No, I had no part of The Gray Man. I wasn't in it. I didn't even do craft service for this film. I was in no way affiliated with this shit. But listen, the Russos have won the lottery because Feige wants to work with them again. The 5th Avengers movie is previously titled Avengers: The Kang Dynasty. As you guys know, that was when Jonathan Majors was going to be the man, as we know, coming out of the exceptional Ant-Man 3. Everybody, come after me, baby. But Marvel cut ties with the actor, as you guys know, convicted of assault and harassment in December. Shang-Chi, Legend of 10 Rings, Daniel Cretton. He was attached to it initially, and then he fell out right before I think Majors left or right after. And then you had really Levy in this. You want to get somebody who knows what they're doing, and that's what's happening here. You know, it's really just about that. I think that when you watch a Marvel film, I do believe that directors, no doubt, have some control over the film, but not nearly as much as they would on their own, right? When you look at a directorial duo in the Russos working with Marvel, you've got Feige over top of them, and that has to happen here again. There's just not even a question about it. Some comments here. Both Extraction movies are actually good. I'm glad. Yeah, see, they didn't direct them, Sully. That's the thing, right? When they're left to direct, I mean, I know you're not going to defend Gray Man and Cherry. It's like, guys, listen, it's just like Horizon. There's people out there, and there's a guy, I forget his name, the president of physical media, Anon Loser guy. He's like, Horizon's a great film. When you come out of Horizon and say it's a great film, I'm just letting you guys know it's done. You're buried. You're not coming back. There's no resuscitation, because I told you guys, I feel like I should dig it up right now. The direct message I got from the director, who is a working director today, directly to me after I hammered Horizon, like, dude, I can't even believe Kevin Costner directed this. This is bad on every single level. I'm like, exactly. But yet we have people out there who can't see it. Guys, listen, man, I don't care if it comes off as egotistical. I don't give a fuck. Here's the reality. There's a lot of people out there who can't see this shit. It's right there. It's like, good God, do we have to like take you back to school? How can you not see that Cherry, Gray Man, Horizon, these are terribly directed films? And when you watch these things, you have to be able to see these things. But when you watch the Russos, when they're working with Feige, it's a different story. It's just, you've got to have control. And when you're working on a film that's going to be hundreds, $300, $400 million film, you know, when all's said and done, they're going to pile as much cash as they need to into this film to make it succeed. Then you have to have directors who at least know how to steer it. And think about it this way. I guess the Feiges certainly have worked with all the actors here. Let's say they decide, oh God, please don't bring Robert Downey Jr. back. Just don't do it. I know there's been a lot of talk about maybe not. Would it ruin the legacy? Of course it would. Just let it go. I know it's an easy fix. Hey, let's bring Iron Man back. Just let it go. Perfect ending, end game. It's over. So once we get back into getting actors back on set, they've worked with the Feige brothers, the Russo brothers. And Feige, obviously, they're all familiar with each other. And Hollywood runs like that. You always see directors work with cinematographers composers, anybody, editors that they've worked with in the past because they know how they work, the crew. So when you bring in the Russo brothers, they've done Marvel before. So it's like, here we go, plug and play. Just got to watch over them. I mean, there's not even a question that you have to watch over these two after you sit through a Cherry and you sit through a Gray Man. They can't be trusted by their own. They just can't. They need an old school Hollywood head to say this is not working, just like we had with Coster and Horizon. You know, whoever said let's take this film over at Warner Brothers, we said that when we came out of it. That was the biggest fucking mistake that I've seen recently in Hollywood, that they took that film. It's truly one of the, again, worst directed films I've ever seen from a calibration standpoint. There's zero sense of, it's such an arrogant direction on him because he's no edits whatsoever in that film, and it has no flow, puts people to sleep, people on their phones all over the place. When I was in the theater for 3 hours, and it felt like 7. Horizon, I will hammer that film to the end of time, and I also continue to destroy Cherry and the Gray Man. They're both abominations of films when it comes to a direction. It's just there's a difference between competent direction and out of control direction. And Cherry and Gray Man is, we are just gonna like do some crack and then we're gonna make our edit. It's terrible. During the Comic-Con presentation in Hall H, 2 new Avengers films were announced. This is going back to last year, right? Talking about Avengers, Kang, Dynasty, and this all got pushed. This was back originally when it was supposed to come out in May, Secret Wars in November of 2025. All that's been pushed. As we go back to the date on this from the article here from THR, it looks like Avengers 5 is May 1st, 2026, and Secret Wars May 7th, 2027. So 1 year apart, rather than the same year was the initial thought they do in 2025. So we still have, guys, another 2 years essentially until we get to Avengers 5 and or Kang Dynasty and or whatever the hell it's titled now. I'm just going to still call it Kang Dynasty until we actually get whatever that film is. Let's continue here, looking through this article, make sure there's nothing else. We talked about Cretton in the role Levy, and now it looks like we're on the Russo Brothers comments here on this Wednesday afternoon. Will be the Kang Dynasty with Jonathan Majors drama. Yeah, it is over. Jonathan Majors isn't done in this town. Jonathan Majors will come back. He just needs to work on independent film, get a role, get a director says, let's try this. It's going to be some time, maybe a year or two. He'll be back. He's not going to be Kang ever again, right? I mean, no one has seen a career implode as quickly. I think the thing about Jonathan Majors, when you watch what happened, is he had one of the most meteoric rises of any actor, and then to go from the very top to quite literally the nadir within few months is something we just don't see often in Hollywood. And Majors can, redeem himself by working with some smaller director. I think he signed up for something. He's got to get that and then slowly build back. He's never going to be, I don't think, going to be back in a role as big as a Kang, but he can make a career. I think it's not over for Jonathan Majors. Kevin Feige told the Russos that Cherry, well, I hope so. Listen, Gone Girl, if you want to jump in and produce, you're more than welcome to. I'm only going to go for a little bit longer. If not, just comment. Here's the deal. Feige knows. Listen, Feige's a smart guy. If you can't see Cherry and Gray Man for what they are, and Horizon, let's throw all 3 of them in there because they're all 3 of the same general fuck shit ass direction. Don't even ask me what that means, but that's what we're talking about, is that anyone of Feige's knowledge in Hollywood is aware that these films are bad. These films are not well directed. Now, there's plenty of people in this space who have no fucking clue what they're talking about, and they'll tell you Cherry's good, Gray Man's a great film. No, guys, it's right there. We can't help you. There's no way to help you if you think Horizon is great. I can't. You're just wrong. I mean, it's not even like black. It is fucking wrong. Horizon's terrible. And we called it when they shelved part 2. I said it coming out of the theater. 2's not going to happen because this film is going to just be destroyed, which it was. And by the way, not a raging left-wing guy here. I'm not the nerd-rotic anti-woke this, anti-woke that. I am the objective film voice in the space. And Horizon God, how many streams do we have to do this? It's so fucking terrible. And so are Cherry and Gray Man. So this is really just a situation where you have to get control of your directors. You can't just let them do what they want to do. They cannot have autonomy on the set. Mixed emotion on the news. It's great to bring back people who are steering the MCU main movie in the right direction. Same time, it feels a bit desperate. Well, listen, they probably are. Here's what's going to happen, though. Deadpool Wolverine opens next week. As you guys know, it's going to be massive. I think $200 million is in the cards for an opening. So you get a $200 million opening. Probably, I think it's locked at $1 billion. And you're going to see kids go to that movie. I don't care if it's art. Parents are taking their kids. Guaranteed. So don't come back to me and say, I saw kids at the multiplex. I told you there'd be kids at the multiplex months ago. So anyone saying that this film is going to be hampered by the R rating, again, clueless. Same people the price thought Horizon was good. So this isn't, guys, this stuff is elemental basic shit. It's not hard to see. And when you come off of a Deadpool Wolverine, you're going to be soaring to the stratosphere as far as the MCU from where we were in the Marvels. The Marvels we're in the garbage, right? We're mucking around in a bunch of dreck, and now we're going to be back up where people are, cultural significance is back in the MCU because of Deadpool Wolverine. Assuming the film is great, I think it's even very good. It's okay. If it's just average or definitely below average, we're going to have a problem. I think it's not going to be as big because this film has to be very good to great. Then again, guys, we live in a world where you're being told Twisters is an awesome blast, and it's totally not a great film. But again, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Go back to Fall Guy. Look, the HCA/Astor Awards gave The Fall Guy the second best film of the first half of the year. That's fucking insane. Guys, I mean, I will rail all day on it, Mike, here on MMT. Fall Guy is not a good film. Twisters is marginally entertaining in one of the most ridiculous, stupidest, dumbest films I've ever seen. You guys, so even if Deadpool Wolverine isn't great, the majority of people out there will just be like, I like my McDonald's. I want a Big Mac. I want a Whopper. I want to eat garbage, and I don't even care if it's good. There's a lot of people like that. They're not very discerning in life, right? We talk about it. George Carlin has that great statement that you see everywhere. Think that half the people that are out there are stupid, and then think about the half of those people are even dumber than that. I say it. It's the reality, guys. Not everybody is an elite consumer of anything. They're very base, and when you give them something like a Twisters or let's say Deadpool Wolverine is average, then they're going to be like, yeah, it's so great, King of the Planet of the Apes. You're like, what the hell? Horizon. You're dudes, guys. I mean, you can do it. I'm just letting you know you're showing your whole ass. It's like it's right there for everybody to see. More comments here. I agree. Cherry and the Gray Man are terrible. Kevin Feige's been amazing in terrible movies like the Marvels, Eternals. Yeah, listen, I mean, Eternals not a great film. Marvels is worse. And I think you look at Eternals, it's a great comment because it brings us back to Chloe Zhao. And we talk about the director of a Marvel movie not being able to fully express their artistic vision through the film because Feige's going to put a lid on that. And look no further than Eternals. You look at a film that you only see like a couple of scenes where you see anything that even approximates Nomadland or The Rider. There's only a couple scenes. So I think some directors are just the wrong fit. You go back to A Quiet Place. The director of Pig, don't have his name right here, not the right fit. That film's not great. You need to have somebody who has a bigger scope on them. And listen, I can hammer I keep saying the Feige brothers. Let's just call them the Feige brothers. I can hammer the Feige brothers forever. But here's the truth. They do know how to make big scope films, right? Wide angle, wide screen, whatever you want to call it. They know how to make a film that feels large. And I think some of these directors get into a situation where they're forced to open up the scope and they're not ready. Go back to Quiet Place. You see that film feels tiny. It does not feel like New York City. It feels like a set. It was a set, but you can feel it in that movie. Not the right director for that film. Even Twisters, I think coming off of Minari, Chung is okay. I don't think that you're going to be blown away by that film. A lot of it's just effects and the screenplay's not great. It's totally dumb, ridiculous, implausible, of course. The original wasn't exactly right Shakespeare, but you still are looking for something. And I think that you have to have someone in place that knows how to handle a big film. It's not something that can be taken lightly. And I just go back to Hollywood. Again, so many people in positions of power in this town who really don't have the talent to back up their position. And a lot of them are creatives. A lot of them are the heads of studios. They just aren't built like they were in the past, where they are no nonsense and this needs to be done, and notes that are strong, not just random notes. And, or for that matter, how about a studio that even knows how to tell a director, bring this thing down? I mean, I don't even care if Horizon was brought to me and said, hey, Costner's like, take this film and we'll give it to you. I paid for it. All you had to do is market it. I'm not marketing. This is fucking terrible, Kevin. You can take this to Netflix. I have no interest in this film. I'm passing. It's a hard pass on Horizon. We're not even going to touch this thing. And Netflix might have taken it. They probably would. They'll take virtually anything, right? So it's amazing to me that there are people in studio positions out there, Warner Brothers, look no further, and you've got them taking Horizon. I don't care if they're not even exposed financially other than the production, the P&A, the spend, the advertising dollars. I don't care. That you don't want that. I don't want that taint on me. I don't want any part of it. I don't want to be affiliated with that film. And the studio heads don't really have that really going on. A lot of them don't. And you see it over and over. It's why we hammer so many films. Someone said, Weber, why are you always so critical? Because these films aren't great, man. And listen, when they're great, I come out here and tell you they're good. It's rare. It's very rare because we live in a society where everybody's great. Everybody can do everything. That's not true, guys. We're Gen X. We were raised where if you're bad, people said you fucking suck. And we go, you're right. He does. He's terrible. No, these kids these days, the Gen Zers was raised with here's 1 trophy, 2 trophies, 3 trophies. You're the best at everything you do. And then you watch them and go, no, you're not. Who told you this? That's the society we live in now because it's mean to tell somebody. No, it's not. It's realistic. And we have too many people in positions that really should never have gotten to that point because society is based on merit. It always will be in my world, period. Look at sports. We talk about it all the time. Has there ever been a quarterback for any team at any level who is a DEI hire, who is a nepotistic? Well, maybe, but they're not going to last long. You have to, if you can get past the barrier through nepotism, through box checking, and then you, let's say, have to perform and everyone can see, not that you're hiding behind a desk, that you're in the background, you're not doing, if your work is for the world to see, then you're going to be exposed and you're not going to last. But in my world, we're always going to hire merit. We're never going to even bother with check the race that you are, check the box. What? No, we're not. Every time they ask me that, it's decline to answer. Fuck you. Don't ask me what my race, my gender, my sexuality is. Who the fuck cares? You're supposed to be hiring the best person. What are you even thinking by asking the question? I'm not going to play that game. That's what Hollywood does. And when Hollywood does that, you end up with people that aren't as talented as they need to be to deliver great films. So that's why I'm hammering things all the time. So to answer that person, why are you always so negative? Because a lot of this shit's not good. You want me to come out of the gray, man, and tell you it's a great film? Go find someone who doesn't know what they're talking about. That film, I mean, again, if I see the Russo brothers out, I'm going to berate them for Cherry and Gray Man. I'm never going to go see this film from Disney. They're never going to give it to me. So what? I'll see it at AMC. Once I don't give a shit about getting invited to any of these things, I don't have to worry about ranklings. Oh, no, the Russo brothers are all pissed off when I dragged everything everywhere. Oh, I hear the Daniels are unhappy with Eric. He keeps saying the movie's overrated. Too bad. Daniels, it's totally overrated, and you should have someone tell you to cut the back 20 minutes of that movie off the movie. It's 145. Get rid of the repetition. But no, A24, Warner Brothers, Disney, name a studio. You're so great. Everything you do is a masterpiece. Ugh, there's the rant of the day. Let's see what else we got here. It's a need to at least be on Guardians of the Galaxy 3 level. Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is a mid-plus Marvel film. Not a great film. Is it? Oh, man, I don't know. You knew you asked me. It's definitely anyone who says 3 is better than 1. Over. Guys, there's no. Now, 2 and 3 we can debate a little bit, but I still would take 2 over 3. I think 3 is just, it's first of all way too fucking long. No one told Gunn to bring this thing down. I don't know what Feige was even doing on that. Bring this in. What was it, 225? Bring it in at 2. You get 2 hours. That's it. If you're making an Avengers, completion to a decade plus, I'll give you 3 hours. You don't get 3 hours otherwise. You don't get 220. And again, Gunn's not going to be told that. Gunn's got an ego. They all do. They all have massive egos. Who doesn't? I have an ego. But if I was making a film and someone said, man, this film is 20 minutes too long, long and it's repetitious, I go, wait a second, you're right. Let's just get rid of that 20 minutes because I would trust somebody. The problem is they don't have people who trust. They have people who just don't even know what they're talking about. And if you have people that aren't talented, then how are they going to be able to even identify that a film is overlong, that a film is repetitious? And then even if they can, are they going to be able to go up to the Daniels and say, this film needs to be cut by 20 minutes. It's too repetitious on the back end. And that's the final answer. No, because they're like, well, I mean, the Daniels, they're such a talented duo. We have to give them the best. It won Best Picture. I don't give a fuck if it won every Oscar, which it almost did. The film is overrated, and it'll never change. There's not even any moving off of that. I'm not going to move an inch, a millimeter off the fact that that is a very overrated film. And I'm never going to move not even less than a millimeter. What's a nanometer? Is there such a thing? Off of The Gray Man. Hold on, let me see if I can find my Gray Man reaction from my wife. That was when it was the beginning and the end for me and Netflix. They're like, okay, Weber just came to our movie and destroyed it when he came out. Let's see if I can find it. I haven't looked at that tweet in forever. Let's see, the Gray Man. Welcome here on this Wednesday afternoon. You're watching Midnight Movie Talk, which is not midnight. It's after 1 o'clock here in LA. Let's see if I can find my Gray Man tweet. Oh, okay. Let's start with this. Here's me at the Gray Man with my Gray Man cup of whatever the fuck that was. All right, let's go back and see what else we got. No, wait a minute. There's that. Hold on. I've got the one. I just want to see if I can find it. Here we go. This is me walking out of the theater. I don't think you guys understand how much I'm about to go off on a film. Gray Man is coming as soon as I get out of this traffic jam, and this was me. And here it comes. If you guys want to watch a stream, go watch a stream from that night. It's one of our first streams here. Here it is. This is what it is. With direction that makes Michael Bay appear restrained, The Gray Man's one of the most chaotically edited films ever. All of the action buried under an avalanche of edits, numbing whatever effect each scene might have possessed, should be shown to film students how not to direct. Of all of the tweets I've ever sent, and I have some good ones, I have some bangers. This is the all-time banger. Me eviscerating the Gray Man and the Russos. And I love when someone tries to defend the Gray Man because I go, you just so you know, you're burying yourself. Like don't even. Okay, go ahead. It's over. It's and same with Horizon. Don't do it. Just stop. Like certain films, just don't even, because you're going to look terrible. I wish I could show you the DM from the director about Horizon. I want to, but then you'd see who it was from, and I'd be in trouble. Guys, I know these things. I've been doing it for over a decade. I can identify and evaluate films pretty strongly, I would suggest. And so what? If that sounds egotistical, don't care. I've been doing it. I have the receipts, and the studios know it, and too bad. I'm not going to stop. Russo Brothers got to be controlled. They cannot be allowed to do whatever they want on this film, because otherwise we're going to get another Gray Man, we're going to get another Cherry, and these kind of things can't happen. Again, Apple, I can't believe they even let them release Cherry in that fashion, and same with Gray Man. Wow. Gen X, no filters needed. Listen, you guys, listen. Again, we grew up in a decade in Gen X where we didn't worry about what anyone else had to say. And first of all, if we had something to say, they said it to our face. We didn't have social media where you have all of these anons hiding behind, acting like tough guys. Guys, listen. Don't make me pull up shirtless pictures. I live this shit. I breathe this shit. I don't need to, of course I can just remind everybody all the time. I have no problem with that. It's very easy to do. But most people don't have receipts. Most people don't actually live things. They talk. We actually have the talent and the fortitude, and these people don't have it. And that's why we're allowed to come on here and say the Russo brothers need to be absolutely watched over 24 hours a day when they're directing this film after this, because whatever. Exactly. Gone girl. We all have different. You have shitty taste. I mean, if you think Horizon's good, you've got shitty taste. There's no other way to really spin that. Let's see a couple more here. THR's headline: Marvel shocker, not really shocking. Safest choice for Marvel. Feige hopefully controlled him, but this doesn't excite me for that. As long as he's controlling them, I like the film. I like that Endgame is one of my favorite, if not my favorite, CBM of all time. So it's wild for me to be hammering the Russo brothers. But this is what we talk about so often here on MMT, and we'll get ready to wrap here. I'm going to do about 30 minutes. It's perfect. Here's what I'm going to tell you. When MMT has the ability to go from Endgame being the best CBM ever to Cherry and Endgame being two of the worst directed films I've ever seen, then that shows you objectivity, because otherwise you do what everyone else on film Twitter does. This director did this, therefore this is good, and the next thing's good. And no, that's never the case. Never. Conversely, we're not going to say just because this film, Poor Things, was terrible, Kinds of Kindness is I very much enjoyed that film, much more than Poor Things, because that shows the ability to always just base the evaluation on what we're watching right now, not on the past, not on the future, the present. And most people can't do that. And then they also don't have talent. So then you're talking about somebody who can't stay in the moment and then doesn't have talent and then also wants to be liked and or shilly, and then you have a combination that's going to be disastrous. And that's where we are in the film space right now. So many people have none of these. That's who we're dealing with. People that are not talented, people are not feelers, people that are shilly, people that can't live in the moment, be objective. Go back to what we talked about. Now that you see J.D. Vance as the pick for Trump, go back and watch Hillbilly Elegy. Look at the reviews. When I read the early reviews of Hillbilly Elegy, we're terrible, goofy. When I watched that film, like, first of all, even if you don't love every bit of that film, you have to say Glenn Close as Grandma is amazing. She's really great. And but the reality is the majority of critics in the space are hard left. I'm not hard right or hard left. That's what makes me totally reliable. It's neither side. And when you come out of Hillbilly Elegy, you at least have to identify Glenn Close and say, hey, it might be a little hokey at times. It may be a little Hallmarky channel in the feels, but it's still, I think, a competent film. I think it delivers on what it's trying to do. But remember, these critics in the space go, J.D. Vance, this is before he's the vice presidential pick, they go, oh, well, he is a Republican. He's a right-winger, therefore the film's bad. These people can't be trusted. But remember, we have a lot of, I'm just going to say it like this. There's a lot of people in the space that are not all there. I mean, certainly not from a political standpoint. They lean so far left that they have no sense of objectivity. None. Zero. They can't do it. And when you're asking someone to be objective who literally can't get there, then why are you even listening to these people? Conversely, same thing. Flip it to the anti-wokers, the nerdrotics, the gores of the world. They can't be trusted because they're always going to filter things through Disney's bad. This is woke. This Star Wars is terrible. And if that's what you do all day, that's not even, I don't know, that's not journalism. Certainly not journalism. It's not even objective. It's you filtering your ideology through, and granted, some filmmakers do that with the woke stuff, but you aren't being any better by filtering your anti-woke through the same thing and saying everything that's woke's bad. There are examples, but not everything that was made woke is unwatchable. Go watch The Little Mermaid live action. I was told because Ariel's black, the film's terrible. I'm watching it going, no, it's not. She can sing. It's competent enough. Did I love it? No. Did I hate it? No. Is it okay for a live action? Yes. Who cares if Ariel's black? Why are we doing this? But that's a weird mindset that people have, and I'll never understand it. I mean, I understand it, but I don't want to discuss it because it's really off-putting. But again, you don't just wholesale say it's terrible because, oh, Ariel's black. Why are you doing that? If someone does that, I'm not even going to throw out the racism card because that's not what I want to do here. They just know they're not objective. They're not trustworthy. If you want to watch those people, go for it. I don't care. It doesn't matter. I'm going to do this channel no matter what happens. It doesn't really affect me what they do. I just want to bring it to your attention to pay attention to these people when they do this shit. So you're not just like, you can see that it's messaging. Yeah, I messaged the fact that Horizon's terrible. The Gray Man's unwatchable. Cherry's completely over-directed. This is messaging by me objectively watching the film, telling you it's garbage. So sorry, it is what it is. Let's see what else. One more from you, Gun Girl. It made sense that Glenn Close was nominated for both an Oscar and a Razzie, right? Because again, I don't want any part of the hard left or the hard right. I want to be somewhere and making decisions that are objective across the board. Most people can't do it. That's what MMT does. Bang, we're out. Back tomorrow night. 4, The Twisters, your reaction. There are screenings tonight, and of course tomorrow we'll have a lot of people who have seen the film. You're going to laugh at it. You're going to say it's dumb. Hopefully you're with me. Not a great film. We'll discuss that tomorrow along with a review of, I believe it's Oddity, the new IFC movie horror film. So we'll have that coming up tomorrow night at about 8 8 o'clock here in Los Angeles. But for now, live from the City of Angels, the Russos are back, allegedly going to happen, to direct the next 2 Avengers movie back with the MCU. Live from LA. Peace out.